reason for that is then you have this ball. You see this ball is right in the center of this rod, okay, and the sun would hit this and it would cast a shadow onto the face of this armillary. And what you see on this armillary is Roman numerals, okay? Now, when you have this correctly, and this is facing the North Star, the sun will come from this direction and it's going to cast a shadow on this ball, which then will cast a shadow onto here, and you see the Roman numeral 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on till 12. 12 is right in the middle, hence what we would call midday or noon, high noon. So when the sun comes up, that would be 6 in the morning. And as the sun progresses through the day, the shadow that the sun casts onto this ball would reflect here on the face of this armillary. Now you'll notice that you have this line here, these two lines that kind of looks like a ladder that goes all the way across this thing. And then you have this line up here, and you also have this line down here. This line in the middle, when the sun hits this and the ball is literally dissecting in the middle of these two lines, that is the equinox. When the sun is up here, that is what we call Cancer. What is that? That would be the winter time. Okay, that would be the winter solstice. This one down here is the summer solstice. Okay, those three are the great signs upon the earth. You have the spring equinox and the fall equinox. You have the summer solstice and you have the winter solstice. Or did I say that backwards? This is the winter solstice and this is the summer solstice. So now let me take this out into the sun to show you what I'm talking about. Now, I already know where true north is here at my house because I've been doing this for a while. So I'm going to take this over here and I'm going to put it right here. Okay, and true north is facing right about there. Now, I moved this earlier and I have to bring this back facing where the North Star is. The North Star would be about right there. Okay, let me get this back in line here. All right, so now you see, and right now here on the West Coast, it is 4:12. Now you can see where this ball is right now. Let me get that to get on there. Now you see that it's near the Roman numeral number 4. So this is the true time of the sun right now, not man-made's time, which is 4:12, but this, okay? So it's not even 4 o'clock yet, according to the sun. All right? This is how this is used. Now, when it's the summer, the spring equinox, I'm just gonna manipulate this so you'll see. It would look like this. You see how the ball is on the middle of the face? I'm manipulating it to make it look like it, okay? So what would happen is this ball will ride this all the way from here in the morning. It will stay on that line. It will not deviate from that line all the way till sunset. That's how you know it's the equinox, be it the spring equinox, also known as the vernal equinox, or the fall equinox, also known as the autumn equinox. It will line up here, and that's what it's going to do here next week. Is getting close to this. Okay, so when I put this in its original, hold on here, let me bring this back and bring it to the actual time here. Give me a second. All right. You see how close that ball is getting to the equinox time. Okay. The first day of the 7th month is the fall equinox. This will be riding that line. All right. Now, for those of you who don't have one of these, which I would tell you to stay away from it because it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie to you, because depending on where you live, let's say if you live in Australia, this is going to be at a different angle. All right. In fact, yours would be even lower than this. Yours would be more of an angle like this. And it's probably even lower than that because the North Star is so far away. This is going to be at a lower angle. All right. But now let me show you what all of us can do. Remember, I was talking about a stick in the ground. I was sharing this earlier. Okay. So I'm going to take you guys are going to go with a ride with me for a minute. And I'm going to leave this here. Doggies, you guys are going to come with me. Let's go over here to our spot. We're going to show them what we're talking about. Okay, hold on one second, you all. So I can show you what I'm talking about here. Okay. Then I'll take my water with me. All right, doggies, you guys ready to go with me? Now I got to be careful with TT because when you're driving and you're on live, they will shut you down. So we're going to be careful about that so they don't see that I'm driving. All right. Because I did that before and they cut me off. Exactly, E46. Exactly. That's what I was just saying because I don't want that to happen. Let me put on my shoes real quick. Hold on one second, you guys. Let me put you guys down for a second. Satchel, get my cap, okay, get my sunglasses. All right, I appreciate you guys being here with me. Now let me take you guys with me. All right, calm down, doggies. Look how crazy it is. Look. Watch Onyx, get off of me. All right, let's go. Now watch, he'll just do circles. You ready to go, Onyx? Let's go. Oh, okay. Look. All right, let's go. Hold on one second. Wait. Hold on. Hey. Wait. Back up. Wait. And make sure nobody's out. Okay. Come on. Oh, they get so excited. All right. Put you guys in the back of the truck. Let's go. All right. Stay. And close the garage. Hold on, you guys. All right. Okay, so we're going to go to my spot. And the reason why I have to take you there because I don't have like an open area where I can stick a stick in the ground, and I wanted to show you guys how to do that as if we were out in the wilderness. Okay, so we're gonna do this together. Let's get in my little work truck. Alrighty. Okay, now I gotta make sure I don't show TT that I'm driving, because if they do, they're gonna shut us down. Just give me a minute. It won't take us too long to get there. It's pretty close to the house. And so while it's doing that, let me go ahead and flip this around. Flip the camera. Okay. Let's do this. Now, again, while we're driving. Again, while we're okay, and maybe I shouldn't even show my face so it doesn't look like I'm driving, because we don't want them to shut us down. If they do, then that means it's connected to GPS, and I hope that's not the case. Yes, we are off the Wi-Fi. We are off the Wi-Fi. Okay. And so you're gonna want to find a location where you can stick a stick in the ground. And I'm gonna take you guys to this desert lot near my house. I will take you guys to this park, but I want to show you where you need a cleared area, not grass, not foliage. You got to get rid of all that stuff. You got to clear it. You want to be away from trees, because again, you want to get a clear view of the eastern horizon and the western horizon. So wherever you may be located, those are key things that you have to look for. Okay, you're gonna have to find a place. Hopefully it's an area that's lifted up a little high to where you can see the eastern horizon of your location and the western horizon of your location. That is very, very important. Without having that, you're not going to get a correct reading. You have to have that when you're doing this, okay? All right. We're about another minute and we should be there. Let me see if we have any cross traffic that I got to wait for. All right, and we're off. So now let me take you here to this location. And like I said, it's not too far. And again, this is what we have to do when we're out in the wilderness. All right, each one of us have to learn how to do this. Okay, we are coming up to the location. Let me go ahead and pull over. Give me a second, you guys. Give me a segundo. And then we're going to do this. All right. Let me flip her around. Okay, we made it here without TT shutting me down. Beautiful. Okay, let me roll up my windows. All right, and it's still pretty shiny out here. We don't have no clouds, so this is gonna be a perfect demonstration. Okay, now, let me wear my sunglasses. All right. Let's see, do I need anything else out of here? I don't think so. Okay. Hold on, doggies. Wait. 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 Okay, let me turn this around. Hold on, you guys. Let me turn this around here. Flip this. Okay, come on. All right, so now I'm just gonna take whatever I find here on the ground. Now, of course, this ground is a little hard. Let me see, can I use this? This might be a little hard. Let me see. Give me a second, you guys. I'm gonna find a stick. This is like real life situation I'm doing here. Just as if you was all of a sudden found yourself out in the wilderness. Can't use that. Oh, here's a stick. Perfect. All right. Now, you don't want a stick that's too long or too tall, okay? Because if it's too long or too tall, what you're going to have an issue with is your shadow is going to be very long, okay? So you don't need it that long. All right, so let me take you across these tracks here. Find me some soft dirt. Okay, so this is perfect. Now, what I'm going to want to do is, first you're going to want to clear out an area, okay? Now I'm going to clean this area out. And the reason why I have to clean this out is because I have to make markings, okay? You're going to have to make markings. Now, you can make markings in many different ways when you're doing this. Okay. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is to get this thing leveled out a little bit. I'm just using my tennis shoe to kind of do this here. All right, now I'm going to stick this stick in the ground like so. Okay, now it's standing up. All right. Now you can see where the shadow is that is being casted already. Okay. So let me straighten this out here. All right. So now you see where the stick is. It doesn't have to be exactly perpendicular, and I'm going to tell you why, because again, the sun is going to do all the work for you. The sundial does not have to be totally, like, this can be at an angle. It could be like this. Okay, you see the shadow still going to be there. All right. It can be like this, away from you. You're still going to see the shadow. All right. But you're going to want to keep it upright as much as possible. Okay, Mishpachah? You're going to want to have this thing right as straight and perpendicular as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. What you want is this shadow. Now, so right now, let's say if I was to mark this, I would take this rock and I'm going to put it right there. Now, as the time goes on, while we're out here, you're going to see this shadow is going to change. Now, where I put this shadow, or where I put this rock, is right at the tip of the shadow. Right at the tip. Okay? So we're going to leave that there. You're going to see the shadow is now going to go, it's going to go further out this way. So let me smooth this out, because you're going to see the next reading here while we're out here. In just a few minutes, you're going to see how it changes. All right? What's going to happen is, and I'm going to, of course, manipulate this a little bit. Let's say if we was out here since the beginning, my first reading would have been somewhere in this area. It would have been like over here from the stick. 30 minutes later, it'd probably be about right here. All right. Find another rock. 30 minutes later, it would be about right here. Okay. Now, when it's the spring equinox or the fall equinox, like we have the one coming up next week, let me just grab a few of these rocks here. It would look like this if you was doing it every 30 minutes. Okay, it would be a straight line like you're seeing here. All right, and all you would do is you would just take your rock, and just like I did that rock over there, where you would just put it at the very top of the shadow, and every 30 minutes you would do one of these numbers. Okay, you would just keep on doing this, and at the end of the day, and remember what I told you earlier, you're gonna want to make sure you see it from the very beginning of the day all the way to the end of the day, because if you don't, you're not going to see the curvature if there is one. What you don't want is a curve. You want it to be straight when you're reading out the equinox. And only the sun can give that to you. You can't manipulate it. All right. And again, my line is not going to be totally straight, but just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like if you did it every 30 minutes. So it would look like something like this. Let me back out so you guys can see. Hold on one second. Let me put on my old man glasses here so I can see what you guys are saying to me, because I'm not seeing it. And definitely don't let your dog walk through it like I just did. Doggies, get away. Watch out. Okay. Hey, get away from there. Both of you. Watch out. Messing up my demonstration. Look at that. I got dog prints and everything. But anyways, so this is the way it would look, okay, if it was a spring equinox. Okay, it'd just be straight. What'll happen is most of the year it's going to give you a curve like this. It's going to do one of these numbers. It's going to do one of these numbers just like this. And you're going to see a curve. It's going to be a curve like this. All right, it's not going to be straight. It's going to curve. And the more you are closer to the solstices, the more
your readings is going to be more of a curve. It's going to be even more pronounced. It's going to be more like this. It's going to go up even more so to where you see a curve like this, and it's going to be more this way. Okay, that's the way it's going to look if you was to mark it throughout the rest of the year. All right, now there's going to be an opposite. You'll see this bow is going to bend the opposite direction during the winter months as opposed to the summer months. The summer months, the bow is going to be this way. Whereas, excuse me, in the winter months, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be the opposite way. All right. So this is literally how easy it is to keep and make your own makeshift sundial and to number your days. Now, after my dogs done messed this up, let me see here. Let's see where this stick is right now. So the stick. And let me see where this actual, hold on one second, I messed up my reading. Okay. So you can see the reading right here of the sundial. And just so it's a lot easier to read, I'm going to stick, oh, there just happened to be a stone right there. I'm going to stick the stick right here. Okay. Of course, the stick is giving me a lot of shadow, so let me bring it down a little bit because it's kind of messing with with what it looks like. All right, so that's the reading at the tip of the shadow. Now we're going to wait for the shadow to go further this way, and then we're going to make another marking. Okay, and like I say, I usually like to do it every 30 minutes. It makes it a lot easier. And then when we get back to the house, I'm going to show you ones that I've done, that I've took pictures of, and I was using a chart, just a art paper, and I was marking it out with a pen, making dots with the pen. You can do it that way as well. But when you're in the wilderness and you have nothing to write with, you have nothing but just what you have on the ground, you're going to want to do it this way. You're going to want to do it this way. And you want to keep people away, animals, people. You don't want them walking where you're keeping time. That area has to be, I hate to use it this way, but it has to be set apart. It has to be an area where nobody can mess with it, because that is your timepiece. That's your timepiece. And every time you move locations, you're going to want to set up another timepiece. You're going to want to set up another sundial. Okay? Now, we can see already that this shadow is already moving. It's about to become part of the other shadow of the little stick that I put in there. But we're going to give it some more time because I want you to see when the shadow moves. Now, what happens is, as you're doing the sundial, you're going to realize as the day is early in the morning or late in the day, the shadow is going to be very elongated, like you're seeing here. It's going to get even longer because why? The sun is over here, okay? And while the sun is over here, it's going to cast a shadow in the opposite direction, facing this way towards me. And so that's what we're seeing here, is the casting of that shadow in this direction. So as the sun gets lower to the horizon, as it gets closer to the horizon, the longer the shadow is going to be on the ground. It's going to accentuate even further out. And this is why I say you don't want a really tall stick, because you're going to find yourself walking way over here to make a marking of a stick that is just right here. So you can use something tiny. You can use something small. Like, I'll just use this just to give you an example. Here's a smaller stick. Notice the shadow on this one. See how short that is? But it's facing in the same direction as that one. So you don't need a really long stick to make a sundial. In fact, something like that, like this one here, is actually better than something this big, because you can actually kind of compress the area. It's in a smaller location. All right, but now, do you want to use sticks, or do you just want to make markings like, you just make an etch right here? Hopefully nobody messes with it, like people in your camp. And you make that mark. Let's say the mark before it was over here, so you would have a dot right there, and then you had a dot over here, and then you had another dot over here, and so on and so forth throughout the day. Okay, and then at the end of the day, what you'll do is you'll connect the dots. You'll just draw a line and see if it's straight or not. If you have any kind of curvature like this, then you know this is the sunset, and this is the sunrise. That would be a straight line from the sunset to the sunrise, and you see that there's a bow. That means this is not a spring equinox or a fall equinox. It would have to go straight across. Okay? And so now we see here the shadow is now past this little stick that I put here. Now it's over here. But you would wait a little longer, and you're going to see it's going to be over here, and then we would mark that spot. And that's how we do this. It's that simple. Literally, that simple. Now, before we leave this location, let me put my body in front of this and see what you guys have to say. Does anybody have any questions for me while I'm out here giving this demonstration? Let's see. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. Show true north. Okay, Jenny Yahoo. So now this is how you would locate the true north. If you don't know where true north is, then that's a great question, Jenny. So let me show you this. All right, so right now, because I know my directions, as you guys can tell, right now the sun's over here. This is the western horizon over here. Okay, this is the west. So the sun's getting ready to set. So we know that's west, which makes this north, which makes this east, and makes that south. Okay, so now we know I'm facing generally in the north, but I don't know exactly where true north is. If you have a compass, the compass is only going to direct you towards magnetic north. True north and magnetic north, and I'll show you that when I get back home, are two different locations. I didn't bring my compass out here with me, but the true north and magnetic north are two different locations. Do not use a compass when you're trying to find true north for your sundial. What you want to use is the sun. The sun will tell you where the true north is, or you can wait till nighttime and you can use what would be, and you'll see it, it'll be the North Star. The North Star is by itself. It's not as bright, but you'll see it. And it's the only star that doesn't move. All the other stars circle around the North Star, hence why it's the North Star. It's like the center of a record player for those of you guys that are old like me and you remember the vinyls, right? And the very center of the vinyl record would be what we would consider North Star. Same thing with the stars as they circle in the sky. So anyhow, this is what you would do. Let's say you don't know where true north is. You can find it out throughout the days by midday. When this shadow right here is the shortest to the stick, that's going to be true noonday, north. Okay, that'll be north. That's going to be noonday. When that shadow is over here, I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. When that shadow is being casted off of the stick and it's straight and it's short, and I'm talking about during the summer months. If it's the winter months, the shadow is going to be really long. It's going to be out here. Okay, from this stick, it's gonna protrude way out here, but it's going to be the one that is the shortest of the day. It's always going to be the shortest shadow of the day. That's going to be true north. As you find it more and more, what you're going to find out is the arch of the way that the sun is moving through the day, the closest one to the stick, that's going to be true north. Does that make sense? And what I'll do is when I get back to the house, I'll show it to you again so you see what I'm talking about. True north, you'll be able to find it by using a stick in the ground. It'll be the shortest shadow of the day because the sun is at the highest point in the sky. That is going to give you the shortest shadow. Now notice now, since I've been talking, remember this was the stick that I put in the ground earlier. You see the shadow is now over here. Okay, so you see that it's getting more long, it's elongating as the day goes on, and it's going to get even longer. If we continue, it's just going to get longer and longer. It's going to be out here right before the sun sets. We're not going to be out here that long, but again, I just wanted to show you how you can do this for yourself. When you go out into the wilderness, when that day should come, and you need to know where you're at on your Whois calendar, put a stick in the ground. Clear the area out of all debris so you can mark your times of, and you might not know that it's 30 minutes. Just come out and look at it and say, okay, let me put another mark here. It's getting a little longer. Let me put another mark here. It's getting a little longer. Let me put another mark. You do that from the beginning of the day until the end of the day, and you're going to have a true reading. You do that multiple days, 3 days, 4 days, you're going to find your true north, and you're going to also see where you're at as the days are either lengthening or they're shortening. You'll know that by the shadow of your stick. Again, we know, according to the book of Enoch, if you live north of the equator, if you go from the spring equinox to the summer equinox, summer solstice, you're going to see that the days are getting longer, which is also going to show you that your shadow is getting shorter. All your shadows will get shorter as you get closer to the summer solstice. These will not be as long because the sun is more higher in the sky. Now, the opposite is true for the winter. All of these are going to be more long. All your shadows are going to be longer because the sun is lower. But if you live south of the equator, then it's going to be the opposite. Your days are going to be longer and your shadows are going to be shorter. And when it's the winter over there and it's the summer over here, when it's getting shorter for us, it's getting longer for you. Okay, does that make sense? But the one thing that we all have in common 2 times a year is the equinoxes. The fall equinox and the spring equinox are going to be the same no matter where you live on the earth. That is the great sign. All right. And so it's that simple, literally. All right, so let's make a trek back to my house. Let me get the dogs and we're going to go over here. Come on, doggies. Let's go. Let's go in the truck. All right. And again, this stuff is not hard. It's very simple. It's very simple. And the more you practice it, the easier it's going to become. You're going to learn things about the shadow of the sun and the way it works and how it works, what you're going to expect as you see the shadow being casted onto the ground. All right, stay doggies. All righty. Okay, let's go. Give me a second here. All right. Make sure I don't show TT that I'm driving. Okay, here we go. If you want your dogs to listen to you, beat them. Beat them hard. I'm just joking. You just got to train your dogs over and over. Repetition. Just like how we learn, we need to learn by repetition. Okay, let me put this down so TT doesn't know that I'm driving. All right. Okay, here we go. Let me get over here. So we're heading back to my house, and now that we just went on this little trip to show you a little bit of what I was trying to get you to see as far as how easy it is to do a makeshift sundial. Again, it's not that difficult. We just make it hard on ourselves because we don't understand these things. We weren't raised with this Hebraic mindset of how the cultures back in the day would use a sundial to tell time. And so
It's wonderful for us to be able to do that nowadays, especially since we're getting close to the time of us getting ready to be taken out. For some of us who are able to make it to the wilderness, some of us may not, because of whatever circumstances we may be in at the time when this stuff happens. As the Messiah says, when you see the abomination of desolation, you are not to return back to your house for anything. If you're at work, don't go back home to get no clothes. You don't do none of that stuff. It's going to happen so fast that you need to get out of Dodge. You got to get out of the cities. You got to get out of the towns. You got to get out of the little villages. Mankind is going to be your worst enemy. You cannot be around other people that you do not know. They will turn you in. They will have you unalived. They will make your life miserable. So you need to get away from people that you don't know. If you already live out in the sticks, out in the woods, you got your own place like some of us may have, you're going to be fine. Don't leave until you have to. But for those of us who live in the cities, they are a trap. The bigger the city, the bigger the trap. You got to get out of the cities. The cities are not your friend. You think you can hide amongst a whole bunch of people? That may work if you're wanted by people, but it is not going to work when you have to show that you have to have a mark. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb, and they will be able to see you coming. You don't have it on your forehead, and you don't have it in your right arm, or your right hand rather, and so that is going to cause you to be an enemy of the SEP. Okay? Let me park this up real quick, and we're going to go back up into the house, into my office, and my water. Oh, all right. Doors are locked. All right, doggies. Come on. There you go. Okay. Let's go back in here. Let me see. Aki Swank. Okay. Sent me. All right, Aki. I don't know if he's here today, but I got your text message. Appreciate you, Ak. Text message. Appreciate you, Ak. Take off my shoes. I'm going to go back up here to the office. We're going to get into some scripture so I can show you some of this stuff that we were just doing out there. Here to the office. We're going to get into some scripture so I can show you some of this stuff that we were just doing out there. All right, doggies. I want to thank all of you for being here and for allowing me to share about how to do the sundial. All right, doggies, you guys stay down here. I am finna go upstairs. Now let me flip this back around. Alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed that little field trip. And take off my cap. Turn on my laptop. So while I'm waiting to put all this up and get my laptop going, does anybody have any questions for me? Any questions? What is the abomination of desolation? We need to do a Zoom for preparation. Preparation for Chanel. what preparation are we speaking of? And what is the abomination of desolation? The abomination of desolation is going to be what we know as the third temple, the fake temple. When that thing is erected, we needs to scram. Oh, when we need to leave our homes. Yes, so the preparation is this. Exactly what day and hour, we don't know, like we were sharing yesterday. No one knows the day or the hour when he is going to come, and no one knows the day or the hour when the abomination of desolation is going to happen, but we will know it even at the very doors. So let's go to Matthew real quick. Let me show you this. Let's go to Matthew 24, where we read about the abomination of desolation. And it reads like this. Matthew 24. Let me blow this up a little bit for you all. Let me close my blinds here. Verse 15, it says, so when you see the abomination that lays waste, your translation may say, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, set up in the set apart place, he who reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Yahudah flee to the mountains. So this is specifically speaking of what we know as the land of Judea. Okay, that area, Judea. Okay, that area that the state of Israel. All right, but children in those days. What days are So now we can go to Daniel chapter 11, verse 31. Let's read that. Remember, as I always say, the New Testament cannot stand on its own. Notice what I have to do. I read something out of the New Testament. Now I have to validate what I've read in the New in the Old Testament, because the Old Testament is the foundation of all Testament. Now I have to validate what I've read in the New in the Old Testament, because the Old Testament is the foundation of all truth. The Old Testament is the foundation of all truth. Okay, so again, let's go here. Daniel chapter 11, verse 31. Where the first image, like an idol, that is going to be placed where it's not supposed to be. And the image, or this abomination, you'll see, we will all know it. It's going to be on your new, talking about erecting, and it's in the place. Guys, sorry for that. We'll start all over. Since I got into the house, I forgot to turn back on the Wi-Fi on my phone. So I'm going to share all that, what I just shared. I'm going to start over again. Okay, now. Are we better? Are we better? Yes. Okay. We are better. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. I'm sorry. That was my bad. I totally forgot. And I do that from time to time. I forget to put my phone back onto the Wi-Fi once I leave the house. So that was me. Hold on a second. Let me get a sip of water here. My bad, Mishpachah. Okay. Let me start over again. So the question was, what is the abomination of desolation? All right, let's go back to Matthew chapter 24. That's where I started when I got here. Matthew chapter 24. And again, I apologize for not having my Wi-Fi on. And some of those that have left, I apologize if you guys came back in. Bad host. Okay. All right, so let's read this again. So what is the abomination of desolation? Let's see what it says here. Now, the Messiah said in chapter 24, verse 15, he said these words. So when you see the abomination that lays waste, your translation may say, so when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, set up in the set apart place, he who reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Yahudah, which is Judea, the physical land over there that they call Israel, the state of Israel, you are to flee to the mountains, and let him who is on the housetop not come down to take whatever out of his house. This right here, verse 17, is talking about those of us who don't live in Judea, but live anywhere else on the earth. It doesn't talk about those who live in Judea at this point. This is everywhere else on the earth. And you'll see this as we continue to read. It goes on and says, and let him or her who is in the field, that is your job, your work, not turn back to get his garment, meaning you don't go back to your home to get your clothes. As I was saying earlier, you should have already had your bug out bag ready to go. Now, I'm not telling you to have a bug out bag. I'm just letting you know whatever you have on, that's what you have on. Don't go back home. That's how fast this abomination of desolation is going to be erected. And you're going to know, don't go back home. Okay. It's not just the building of the building, this third temple. It's what they do once they build the third temple. There's going to be something that's going to happen. And let us continue. You'll see. So then it goes on and says, and woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing children in those days. What days are we talking about? We're talking about during this time because the Great Tribulation is getting ready to start. Why? Notice what it says here. It says, and pray that your flight, that means when you flee, does not take place in the winter or on the Shabbat. Like today is the Shabbat. What if it was happening right now and you and I, as we're here talking on this platform, and all of a sudden they tell us, oh my gosh, they just erected this such and such to this such and such, and it's happened, and we didn't know about it. And here we are on the phone because we're doing this on Shabbat. We're not thinking about those things. We're not looking at CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and whatever have you. So we don't see what's breaking news. Okay, so we need to palal that it doesn't happen on our rest day, on our Shabbat. All right. And so then it goes on and says, for then there shall be great distress. In your translation, this is where we get the word great tribulation. You can substitute the word distress with tribulation. This shall be the great tribulation, such has not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. I don't say this to scare anybody or to put fear in anyone's heart. This passage right here is talking about what we're getting ready to witness, what we're getting ready to experience. The world has never seen a day or a time like this. What we're getting ready to see is when Satan is going to be unleashed on this earth. We can read about that in Revelation chapter 12. It says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and to those that are in the sea, for Satan has come down to you having great wrath, and he knows that his time is short. That's when the great tribulation starts, at this moment right here. And it says, and if those days were not shortened, no flesh shall be saved. But for the sake of the chosen ones, those days shall be shortened. Okay, that's for you and me. Now, what is the abomination that lays waste, or what is the abomination of desolation? Spoken of by Daniel the prophet. So let's go to Daniel chapter 11, verse 31, and that's where I was at. Now, as I was saying earlier, notice how I have to go from the New Testament to validate it in the Old Testament. As I always say, the New Testament cannot stand on its own. It must be validated by the foundational teachings of the scripture. This is why we have to go back to the Tanakh. This is why we have to go back to what they have called the Old Testament. Nothing old about it. It is the original writings. And so we have to go there to see what it says. So now let's read this. So Daniel chapter 11, and we are going to read, where is it here? 19, I believe it is. 19, 20, 21. Before then join, and he shall, where is it here? Is it 26 or 27? I can't quite remember where I had it. I think I just saw it and I just lost it with my own eyes. Hold on one second. I want to make sure that I had that right. Matthew 24, verse 31. That's what it was. Okay. So here it is. 31. And strong ones shall arise from him. The him here is the anti-Messiah. Okay. The strong ones could either mean military. It could also mean the fallen ones, the fallen angels. We don't know quite sure who the strong ones are, but we know that they are with him. They shall arise with him. Okay. And profane the set apart place. What is the set apart place? It's where the first and second temple were erected. It says the stronghold, and shall take away that which is continual. What is continual? It's not talking about offerings. It's not talking about sacrifices, because we know that is not continual. The continual part of this is that he is going to take away those who are preaching the truth, those who are giving him worship, those who are trying to be in obedience to Yahuwah, because what they're going to erect is going to be set up the abomination that lays waste, or the abomination of desolation. This is either going to be a throne, or it's going to be an image, it's going to be an idol. One of those things it's going to be, and it's going to be paying homage to Satan. Has nothing to do with our Creator. And this is what it says here. If we tie this together with what was revealed to the Apostle Shaul, aka Paul, in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, you can kind of put it together and you'll see that it makes sense. Notice what it says here in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And so it says here, let no one deceive you, verse 3, in any way, because the falling away is to come first. That is the apostasy, falling away from the truth. And then the man of lawlessness, this is the false Messiah, is to be revealed, the son of destruction, okay, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Alua Alahim, the mighty one, or that is worship, so that he sits as Alua Alahim in the dwelling place of Alahim, showing himself that he is Alahim. This is the abomination that causes desolation. Just like what we read in Daniel chapter 11, verse 31, again. And it says here, and shall profane the set apart place, the stronghold, and take away that which is continual, and set up the abomination that lays waste. That is where he sits as being Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. This is him. This is the abomination that lays waste. So when we see the third temple being erected, we hear about it so much today. Okay, they talk about the red heifer and how they need the ashes of the red heifer to cleanse the Temple Mount, to cleanse the Levitical priesthood. By the way, there is no longer Levitical priesthood, but they're going to erect it again as the Levitical priesthood. Once again, we know that the Levitical priesthood has been done away with. Why? Because the Messiah became our high priest according to the order of Melchizedek or Melchizedek. We are now under the order of Melchizedek, that is the king of righteousness or the ruler of righteousness. That is what Melchizedek means. And so he's going to show himself that he is the mighty one. So he is the abomination that causes desolation. And it's from this moment that he starts coming after us. Because if you continue to read this, notice what it says in the book of Daniel here in chapter 11. So remember, he sets up the abomination. He shows himself to be Alua Elohim according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And then it says this in verse 32. Let me pull this up a little bit so you guys can see it with me. And by flatteries, that is by lies, by deception, he, the false Messiah, shall profane those who do wrong against the agreement. Guess who he's going to mess with? The Extions. Because they're not keeping agreement. They're not keeping contract. They're not keeping this word right here. But the people who know their mighty one, they shall be strong and shall act. That's you and me. How do we know him? You say you know him and you don't keep his commandments, you're a liar. And the truth is not in you. So we're the opposite of that. We know Yahuwah and we keep his commandments and the truth is in us and we're not liars. And so this is us. We are going to act. We shall act. What is that act? Remember what the Messiah says. He says, greater works than these shall you do. The pouring out of the Ruach HaKodesh is going to be upon all of us who keep the commandments. Things that we weren't able to do and we're wondering why are we not able to cast out demons? Why are we not being able to heal the sick? Why are we not being able to raise the dead? Because Yahuwah is not allowing us to do that right now by his Ruach. It's not about how you're walking. It's about when he wants to reveal himself to us while you're walking. I hope that makes sense. And so here it is, exactly, Akodi Stella, hear and show, so shall we do. And so it goes on and says, and those of the people who have insight, meaning we have understanding, we understand Yahuwah's commandments, we shall give understanding to others, to many. So you and I, those of us, this little group, you're going to be teaching people in your area, and I'm going to be teaching people in my area because we know the time. We see what's happening. We feel the Ruach moving towards through us, and we are doing exploits, mighty works in the name of Yahuwah. And so it goes on and says this. And so those are the people who have insight shall give understanding to many, and those who have been given understanding, they shall stumble, meaning that they shall be unalived by the sword. This is the great tribulation. And flame, and by captivity, meaning that you'll be in prison, and plundering, meaning that they take all kinds of stuff from you. And this is going to happen for days. We know how many days, 1,260 days this is going to happen. And when they stumble, when they fall, when they're about to be unalived, they shall be helped with a little help. But many shall join them by lies, by deception. What is that deception? They're going to act like they're one of us. They're going to be saying Yahuwah and Yahusha. Oh yes, I keep the commandments. But they're lying in our face. They're lying to us. We got to be careful who we let into our circles, Mishpachah. We got to test those who are around us. Not saying, okay, let's hear it from you. What do you believe in? No, we're going to see it by their walk. Their walk is going to be a witness unto them. We're going to know if they are one of us, if they are of us, or if they're not of us. And so it says, and some of those who have insight, like you and me, some of us who have this understanding, some of us who have become teachers of the law, we too shall stumble. But it is to refine us. It is to cleanse us. It is to make us white until the time of the end, for it is still for an appointed time. Once again, this is the great tribulation. This is the Great Tribulation. And so what we read in Matthew chapter 24, what I just shared with you, Daniel is told the same thing by this angel. It says here, and there shall be a time of distress, that is a time of tribulation, such as never was since there was a people until that time. Same thing that we read in Matthew chapter 24, I believe it was verse 21. What does it say there? Let's read it again. For then there shall be great distress, that is the great tribulation, such has not been since the beginning of the world. The other one in Daniel says, since there was a people, since there was a nation, as it has been from the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. This is the Great Tribulation. So, going back to the calendar, when we see this happening, this is why you need to learn how to keep time right now with the stick, with your own sundial. Okay, you have to do this. Now, let me show you some pictures here. Let me show you of past times where I was doing what I was sharing with you out in the wilderness. Some of you have seen some of these pictures before, but I want people to see this for themselves. Okay, so let me show you. You don't have to have a sundial. All you need is a stick and a ground, and we all have that. Okay? We all have a stick and we all have a ground to stick a stick in the ground. Hold on one second. I think I have to put this little puzzle piece here for TT. Okay. Now let me blow this up a little bit. Let me blow it up even more. Okay, so this is a table that you can see here, a plastic table, one of those Everlast tables that you can buy at Walmart and those places. But you'll notice here as I blow this up, I have a stick right here sticking through the plastic table. And what you see here that it's going through is art paper, okay, a poster board. I just bought a white one from Office Max or Office Depot, whatever they call it these days. And you can see that I'm making markings throughout the day, and I even put down the time. Okay. Let me see if I can get that to focus in here. Let me see. Can I get that to focus? As you can tell, even though I can't get it to focus in, maybe because it's not focused on there, I'm not going to be able to focus that because it's not focused even on my screen. But anyhow, these are the times that I was making markings throughout the day. Okay. Now let me take you to the next one. Here's the next one. This is when the sun was going down, I believe. Okay, so you can see that I'm on top of a hill on this mountain, and you can see the sun right there going down behind the horizon. So that was the last marking that I had because there was no longer a sun to cast a shadow onto the poster board. That's the camp that me and this brother was at here, that we brought our trucks, and our trucks are in this valley. This is where we're camping, and where I'm taking the picture is on the hill from the campsite to where I can get a clear view of the sun from both horizons. And again here, you'll see this is midday right here. This is the shortest shadow that you'll get with your stick. This is how you find your true north. Let's continue. And again. And again. So now you can see a side profile of the board, or the table that I'm using. You can see the chopstick. I'm using a chopstick. Here's the bottom of the chopstick going through the board and out the top. And I just taped the construction paper, this poster board, on top of the plastic table. Okay. Let's go to the next one. And so this is the brother that was with me, and he's looking over the table and the sighting of the shadow. You can see how it was elongated. This is when the sun was coming up. And the reason why I know this is because we have this facing north. And so the sun is off screen. It's this way. And so the sun is casting a shadow in that direction. Hence why you see the shadow right there. All right. That's the shadow right there. If I blow it up, you'll see that the shadow is right there. Okay. So this is sunrise. Let's go to the next one. Now you can see where I connect the dot from the day before. You'll see that there's a straight line here. Okay. Not totally straight, but straight enough. We're getting close to the spring equinox. There's a little bend here, or a fall equinox. You see that there's a little bend right in this area right here. This little bend right here lets us know that we are not at the fall equinox yet. Here's another one. You can see the difference from the day before. So what you're seeing here is the spring equinox, or the fall equinox. I keep saying spring. Fall equinox. You see how it's straight. It's a little different between the two right here. You see how the lines delineate right here in this area. This one that is straight, that is the fall equinox. This one was the day before. You see how I have 10:19 and 10:20. This was October at that time when I did this. Okay. Let's continue. And again, now you can see the straight line. Here's the straight line, letting you know that this day was the fall equinox. And again, this is the fall equinox. Straight line shadow. Straight line shadow. This is right before the sun goes down. Notice how long the shadow is. It's literally off the table. It's off the page. Okay? Literally off the page. All right? Another one. Sun going down. So that's pretty much it. That's the campfire at night. All right, so let me show you this one. Remember we was talking about the North Star, how you can find the North Star. You see there, Polaris. You see where my cursor is? I'm circling around. That is Polaris. That's the North Star. That's the other name for it. North Star, Polaris. Okay? Now, Polaris, if you know how to find the Little Dipper, it's the end of the handle of the Little Dipper is Polaris. And if you know where the Big Dipper is, if you follow the last two sides of the pot, if you will, this is the pot. Thank you for that, CQ. Oh, yes, there it is, the Dipper. Appreciate that. The outer side of the Big Dipper, those two stars, if you line it up, it almost takes you directly. It's a little off keter, but it's going to take you to the North Star, the Polaris. Okay? Now, the next page I'm going to show you here, the next picture I'm going to show you is a time lapse. This time lapse, this was taken over LA, but you see here, this red arrow that I made here, that one dot in the center is the only one that doesn't look like it went into warp speed. That is your North Star. Notice how all the other stars are encircling. This is through the day, or I should say through the night, that you see it spinning around the North Star. The North Star is the only star that stays put. This is how sailors will circumnavigate in the oceans when you have nothing to read off of as far as a tree or a building or a mountain or an island. You don't see nothing but water as far as the eye can see in every direction. You don't know if you're going north, you don't know if you're going south, east, or west, unless you see the movement of the sun. And when the sun goes down, now you have to use the North Star. As long as you know where the North Star is, then you know your cardinal directions. You know if you're going east, if you're going west, if you're going north, or if you're going south, depending on where the North Star is. Okay, makes sense? And so this is kind of my whole smorgasbord, if you will, of when I'm doing the readings of the sun. Now, as you can see here, I have my compass. Again, like I shared with you guys earlier, you cannot use a magnetic north compass to find true north. You're not going to be able to do so. Okay. And so you see here, I have my armillary that I showed you guys earlier. I have another one here. This is one that I made with a catch dish for a plant potter. Potter, why do you say that? Planter's pot. This is the water catch dish for underneath the pot. And so I etched out, you can see here, I have like an etching here, like a little indentation there. And I have one very opposite of that. That is so I can line it up with true north. So true north is in this direction, which is why my armillary is also facing in that same direction, which is also why this page is also facing in that same direction. So all of this is facing true north. Okay. Just showing you some of the ways you can do it. All right. Now, this is the Temple Mount. The reason why I want to show you this is because here is the Golden Gate. That is the Eastern Gate. This is the gate that is closed right now, that nobody is able to enter in. They say that the person who's going to enter into this is going to be the Messiah. Now, I don't know if they're going to have the false Messiah walk through it, or if it's going to be our Messiah that's going to walk through it. I don't know. But right now, that is literally blocked off. It's got bricks all in it. You can't even, you'd have to blow it up to walk through it. Okay. But anyhow, that is the outer gate. So remember, I was telling you earlier, for those of you who were here, during the spring equinox, the sun would come from the east. So you see my cursor here. Imagine that being the sun. The sunlight is going to go right through the Golden Gate into the court, the gate court of the Gentiles, into the gate court of the women, and then into the Most High Place, to the inner court, and then to the Most High Place. Okay, the set apart place. But all of that is to be lined up straight from the Golden Gate, straight from the fourth portal, when the sun comes up over the Mount of Olives during the equinoxes. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Now that's the way, this is an aerial view looking back towards, we're looking from the southeast towards the Temple Mount area. This thing that's sitting here is the Dome of the Rock. Okay, many of you probably know that. The Muslims cherish it. They think that's where the Most High Place is supposed to be. Even those that are the curly lock Jews, they think that this is the Most High Place, but that is not. The Most High Place is north of that location. It's in this area right here. Again, because here is the Golden Gate. Let me see if I can bring that up for you. This is the Golden Gate. It's closed off. I know it's blurry, but that's where the Golden Gate is. If you actually look at it in a clearer picture, you'll be able to see it, as opposed to the one I'm showing you here. But that is the Golden Gate right there. And it's supposed to be in line with that. It should be in this area. Okay, let's go to the next picture. So now, here again, another aerial view. There's the Golden Gate right there in this area. You can see it. It looks a little different. All right. Let's go to the next picture. So the only reason why I transposed this over, so this would be the actual building of the temple. Okay. This is the inner court. This is the outer court. And this is the outside area called the Gentiles court. So this is the outer court, the inner court, and then you have the Most High Place, which is back here. And then there's another gate in this area where they had a veil. All right. But if this was the location where the Dome of the Rock was, it would have to be facing in this direction. But here's the Golden Gate. It's blocked. You see here where it says Dome of the Tablets? Many believe that that is the location of the Most High Place. This is where the Ark of the Agreement was sitting. This area right here. And there seems to be truth to that, because again, here's the Golden Gate, and the sunlight would have to go straight through there all the way to the Most High Place. This would have to be moved up here. but I just did that just to show how it looks if that was the location. All right, next one, and the next one. And so here is what people are starting to realize. There's people out there that are realizing that the temple should be over here, not over here like I just showed you. Here's the Golden Gate. The light should penetrate all the way to this area. You see where it says Dome of the Spirits? I just showed you that earlier in the other picture. So this should all be in alignment. Okay, let's continue. Now this sundial was found in the Dead Sea Scroll caves. This was found by the Dead Sea, in those caves where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. So those who were keeping those parchments, those scrolls, were also using a sundial to keep Yahuwah's time. Each one of these etchings, there's 364 of them. Okay. So you can see they have different circles. I don't know exactly what all of these mean, but they all have to do with time. Each one of these. Maybe one of these days Yahuwah will give us the revelation to understand what each one of these circles mean. And when that day comes, we'll get even more information on the calendar. But right now we have more than enough to do what we need to do, which is the truth. Okay? So that's that. Now, let me show you a picture. Remember I told you that the temple itself is a huge sundial. So let me show you this. So this is what an artist's rendition is of what the temple kind of looked like. And this is also based off of Ezekiel, okay, the book of Ezekiel. The last few chapters, I think it's like chapters 40 to the end of the book. So what you'll see here is, again, here's the outer court, here's the eastern gate. That was the one that I showed you. That is what we call the Golden Gate. This is the Golden Gate. Here's the inner court gate, and then you have the temple. All this has to be lined up together so that when the spring equinox happens, that sun goes directly through this gate, into this gate, into this gate, and shines upon the Ark of the Agreement. All right? So the whole temple complex is a huge sundial. Huge sundial. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's go to the next one. So this is a cross cut of a bird's eye view of the temple. So what you're seeing is all this here. You see all these numbers? Let me show you what those numbers are. Let me go back and show you. You see all of these little tents over here on the edge, on the border that goes all the way around? That's what those are. I numbered them. Okay? So imagine all of this just being sliced off the top. Everything on the top is being sliced off, and you're looking down at it from the top, bird's eye view. Let's go back. And so this is how it would look. Now, notice this. Here is the most high place. Let me blow this up here. This is the actual temple building. You see there's a veil here, and then there's a veil here. The Ark of the Covenant would sit right here. The Ark of the Agreement would sit right here. Where it has the letter C, it would be like right in that area. It would sit right there. Okay? Now, again, all of this has to be in alignment with the east. You see here it says the east. The sun has to travel through this, the Golden Gate, which is the outer court gate, the inner court gate. Here is the altar that is before. This is where they would unalive animals and put them on the altar to burn them before Yahuwah. This is the area called the tent of meeting. This is where they would meet, okay, before Yahuwah. He would speak to them right here at the stairs. You see that there's stairs right there, okay? They would be right there. This is where they would speak to him. You weren't able to go in there unless you were the high priest. You couldn't go past this veil unless you was the high priest. The high priest only goes in there once a year, and when he walks up in here, he goes all the way, and he doesn't even enter into the most high place. He comes close here, and he would sprinkle the blood on the veil and upon the Ark of the Agreement. But he himself would not walk all the way in here, lest he be unalived by Yahuwah. So this is as far as he goes. And you would see the showbread over here, and you would see the menorah, the 7 candlesticks over here, or is it vice versa? I can't quite remember. One of them's on this side and the other one's on this side. Okay. Yes, Korean, they would have dried pomegranates would be tied to the bottom of their skirts of their robe, and the seeds inside the pomegranate, when it dries up, it has that sound. If that sound doesn't happen, they know that something happened to the high priest and he's not moving, and they would tie a rope around his waist and they would literally pull him back out with the rope, because he probably was unalived by Yahuwah because he did something he wasn't supposed to do. Yes, like Aaron's sons. Exactly, honeysuckle. Okay, so you see here the calendar. This is the calendar, these numbers here: A, B, C, and D. These are the 4 intercalary days, okay, the extra days of the year. So let's start with A. Let's say the spring equinox just happened. Maybe they put a sandbag right here, right? And they start off with the first day of the year. And they would go all the way until they get to number 30. Remember, every month is 30 days. When they get done with this, then they would start back over again. They do it again. When they get done with this, they'll do it one more time, the 3rd month. When they do the 3rd month, then they'll move this sandbag from A and they'll move it to B. Now we are in what is called the summer solstice. And they'll start it again, 3 months, 3 months. And then they'll move it to C. Now we're in the equinox, the fall equinox, like the one we're getting ready to have, okay? And then they'll do 3 more months. Counts of 30, 3 times of 30s. And then they do the last one, the winter month, D. And then they do 3 more months. And then they start it all over again. A, spring equinox, 30 days, another 30 days, another 30 days, 3 months gone by. Now we're going into the summer solstice. They'll move it over to B. So this whole complex is a huge calendar. Do you all see this? It's a huge calendar. This is why we all must understand, as the Levitical priesthood understood, you must know your times. We are all in the order of Malak Zadok. He has made us kings and priests, which means you and me, male or female, it doesn't matter. You must study this calendar out. This is why my Ashah makes these, okay? Because in the same sense, what you're seeing here is placed on the beads, the calendar beads. For those of you who have the calendar beads, you know what I'm talking about. Let me back this up a little bit here. Let me move my scriptures out the way for a second. The same thing like what I'm showing you here, I'm about to show you here on the calendar beads, okay? Now, mind you, these are portable. You can take it with you if you had to run. If anything, take one of these with you when you go to work. Have it in your car, have it in your backpack, whatever. If you need more than one, maybe you'll have one that's hanging up in your house. That's what I do. I have one by the kitchen. I have one here in my office. You know, so I have more than one. Now, I split this up into the 4 sections of the year, the seasons, okay, which are A, B, C, and D here, the green ones. Let me blow that up again so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Remember the A, B, C's, and D's right here, right? Pull that up. Those will be your seasons. This would be like A, this would be B, C, and D, or spring, summer, fall, winter. Okay, each one is highlighted on this particular one by a gold bead for the first day of the month. First day of the month. First day of this month. First day of this month. This one is, it's not the spring equinox, but it's the day after spring equinox. So you can say that that's the spring equinox because it is. This would be the summer solstice. This would be the fall equinox. And this would be the winter solstice. Okay. These four is your A, B, C, and D. You're going to count your 30 days of the first month, 30 days of the second month, 31 days of the third month, and there's your summer solstice. Okay. The summer solstice happens between the 31st day, because this is the sign. the extra 1 day, that is the sign that is moving us into what we call the summer. There's going to be a 31 bead here that's taking us into the fall. You have a 31, let's see, that would be 28, 29, or we don't count that day, 29, 30, 31. This will be the last one here, and then we start all over again over here for the equinox, spring equinox. This day here is the void day, the separation day, the day that we do not count. Why do we not count that day? Because there's a 365-day solar cycle, but we're told to keep a 364-day count. This day is to separate, to make the marker of what we know as the creation week. That's why these 3 beads are gold. That's the first day of the week of creation, second day of the week of creation, third day of the week of creation, and then we have the fourth day of the week of creation. That's your spring equinox. Then you have the 5th day of creation, 6th day of creation, and there's your first Shabbat of the year. The 4th day of the year is your first Shabbat of the year, and then every 7 days from that point on, every purple one that you see here, which is in separations of 7 beads or 7 days for the next 52 weeks, is all your Shabbats. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, this is why we give these, okay? For those of you who don't have money and you can't purchase one, others have paid it forward for you. Let us know that you want one. We'll get you one. If you can afford it, please pay for it. It's not that expensive, but we'll talk about that on another day because today is the Shabbat. Don't like to talk about buying and selling on today, but you need to get you one of those, okay? Or the other colors. We have some other colors here, okay? Now, with that being said, do we have any questions before I go any further? Any questions? I'll answer them one at a time. I'll try to get to each one of you, and then we will go to another one. So that's okay, Sparrow. Get with me. Not today, but get with me on TT. Let me know that you would want one, and we'll send it to you. No problem. What do we do with the 366 days? So every 4 years, there is a leap year, okay? So let me bring this back down. Now, some of our older calendars, or calendar beads, we would actually have a 366 calendar bead, okay? We substituted that with a tie down, this one here, okay? So there's 365 beads on here right now, but only 364 of them a year are we to use for counting, okay? So again, all the purple, blacks, and golds we use as counting. We don't use this one here on this particular calendar bead. It's a white one. We don't use that day. And on the 366 day, which happens every 4 years, is this one. We don't count this one either. Okay? That happens once every 4 years because the day and a quarter is going to add up, as it says in the book of Enoch, and we're going to be overlap or surplus an extra day. Okay? This is that extra day. That's the leap year. It happens every 4 years. So what happens is that there's going to be 2 days between the last Shabbat and the first day of the week. Because if you don't add that second day on the 4th year, you're going to be off at the counting of the spring equinox. Your straight line shadow that I was telling you how to do with the sundial is going to be the next day after because you didn't add the extra day. So you're like, wait a minute, why am I not getting the straight line shadow? Because you have to go to the next day. The next day is going to be the straight line shadow. That's going to be the 366 day. So after you do the spring equinox here, or excuse me, not spring equinox, the last Shabbat of the year here, you're going to have 2 void days before you start counting again. Your first day of the week, your second day of the week, your third day of the week, and then you're going to have your spring equinox right there. Okay? Okay, so honeysuckle, it's only because the 1,260 days you're using a prophetic calendar and not the 364-day calendar there, sweetie. There's a difference. The prophetic calendar is 360 days. The yearly calendar that we're supposed to keep time is 364 days. Okay? And then we also have to account for the solar cycle, which is 365 and a quarter every year. That's 1 day and a quarter of surplus. And at the end of 4 years, you're going to have an extra day, because those point quarter days are going to add up to 1 whole day. So now you have 2 days out of time instead of 1 day out of time every year. Yeah. What does the leap year represent spiritually? Chanel, I never given that any thought. What does it mean? I don't know what it would actually mean spiritually, but I can tell you what it means in the annals of time. So at the very beginning of Genesis, we read about this time that we don't know about, right? Genesis chapter 1. And there we read, so notice here how it says, let me bring my cradle back so I can put this back on here. The day out of time, what does it represent spiritually? It seems to be this right here. Let me blow this up for you. In the beginning, Alua Elohim created the heavens and the earth. Okay? We're not told how long this time is. We're not told. We're also not told how long the earth was formless and empty or void of life. The next thing we know is he says, let there be light. So with our understanding and knowing what it says in the book of Jubilees, we know that when he said, let there be light, that means that the day before that was the 7th day, what we would call Shabbat. But there was a separation of that time of Shabbat, which is this void time. This where it was formless and empty or void. That's the void day. This right here. That's the void day. And then he said, let there be light. First day of the week. And there was light. Then the second day, he separated the waters from the waters. The third day, he gave us trees and plants. He planted them on the earth. And then the fourth day, we have the sun, moon, and the stars were created. Also, this is where we get the spring equinox. When he created the sun, moon, and the stars, that day, the fourth day, we're not told that it's the spring equinox. It doesn't use the word spring equinox, but that's what it is right here. From everything else that we read, from the Dead Sea Scrolls to the book of Jubilees to the book of Enoch, and even here in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, this fourth day, Yahuwah set up the sun that it made a straight line shadow on this day. This was the spring equinox. And so then you had the 5th day after that. And then you had the 6th day. And then 3 days from the spring equinox, you have the Shabbat, just like we have on the calendar. 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, Shabbat. Okay? So the void day is this passage right here. The earth came to be formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep. Before this, there was a Shabbat. There was a Shabbat. How do we know that? Because we're never told when the earth was created, and we're never told when the water was created. There was a time before this time when he said, let there be light. This is why when we read the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, the angel told Moses, Masha, that they were keeping Shabbat in the Shamayim, in the heavens, before it was ever known to any creature, any man. Adam didn't know about the Shabbat at this time. But you best believe when he created Adam, even though we're not told, Adam knew about the Shabbat. He knew about the Shabbat. Because again, and in the 7th day, Alua Elohim completed his work which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And Alua Elohim Baruch the Shabbat day And right there, he set it apart. That passage right there, when he set it apart, he created the Shabbat right at that moment. Or I should say it was revealed, because the Shabbat was already going on before we're told about it here, according to Jubilees chapter 2, from what this angel told Moshe, because they were already keeping the Shabbat in the heavenlies. So thank you for that question. Let me see here. To look at what you sent me, Miriam, once I'm off, because you sent me a picture, so I won't be able to do it right away right now. Behold the wise one. You said the Sabbath was first in heaven, then began the creation of earth and water. No, the earth and water, we don't know when it was created. We're not told when the earth and the water was created in the Genesis account. Okay, we're not told, but sometime before this, he did. What I'm trying to relate to you, and I hope, and sometimes, you know, the language is hard sometimes to try to relate what I'm trying to say. So let me see if I can do it a better way. So before this passage here, the angels were keeping Sabbath, meaning that they were keeping a 7-day weekly cycle in the heavens before Yahuwah said, "Let there be light." I hope that makes better sense. Does it make better sense? Yes, Neria. Next year, the Shabbat will change. That's right, Chanel. What happened? All we know is Satan happened. Satan caused the destruction of the earth before. This passage, and as I've shared this with you guys before, again, the prepositional phrase there is came to be. The Hebrew word, the two Hebrew words for this is bohu tohu. The earth bohu tohu, formless and empty, or the earth came to be formless and empty, meaning that the earth was not created formless. It came to be formless, meaning that when Yahuwah spoke the earth into existence, he created it perfect. He did not create it from some primordial, supial kind of thing, and then all of a sudden started erecting things on it, like we see here in this account. When he did this, he spoke nothing into something at the very beginning. He spoke the earth into existence. He spoke heaven into existence. There was no heaven at one time. There was no earth at one time. All there was him. It was only him. He's spirit. Now try to wrap your mind around that. That's what blows me away when I try to do that, is he's always existed. And then one time, or I can't even say one day, because the day didn't even exist yet until he created a day. So I have to rephrase my words. And then it came to a point that Yahuwah said, I'm going to create. And the very first thing he created was himself. He is the firstborn of all creation, not of life, but the firstborn of all creation, meaning everything, adamant and inanimate. He's the very first thing that he created was himself. He made himself a body. This is what I was trying to explain to this other guy named Soul Man on another live that I was attending earlier. So he created himself a body. After he created himself a body, he must have created the heavens. We're not told, but we know he's first. And so he must have created the heavens first, because that's where he dwells. And in some time, we don't know how long, it could have been right afterwards, instantly on that same day, after he created himself a body, he created angels, the heavenly hosts. He created them in his image and after his likeness. Yes, the angels were created in his image and his likeness. That's why they are called the sons of Al, the sons of Elohim. If you go back and you look at any of the Superman stories, the movies, go back and look at it. I'm not telling you to watch the movie, but you will hear certain things in the movie. They were called the Sons of El. Do any of you remember watching any of the Superman stories? They would call them the Sons of El. That's where they're getting it from. They're getting it from the scriptures. Yes, they're all angels. They're fallen ones. But they changed the storyline and they gave you a Uberman, Superman. Okay, Uber means super in German. And so after he created the angels, he taught them the Shabbat. That's why when we read this in Jubilees, Yobalim, let me bring that out for you. To the apocryphal books. Let's go to Jubilees, chapter 2. Jubilees, chapter 2. Now, I'm not going to read all of it, but I do want you to see this passage here about the Shabbat. Let me turn on my light there. This is what the angel said to Masha, to Moses, okay? Notice he says, and he, meaning Yahuwah, gave us, the angels, a great sign, the Sabbath day, that we should work 6 days. He's saying this to the angels, that they are to work 6 days, but keep the Sabbath on the 7th day from all work. And all the Malachim, the angels of the presence, and all the angels, or the Malachim of purification, these two great classes, he, Yahuwah, has hidden us to keep the Shabbat with him in heaven and on earth. So when he created the earth, they also kept it on the earth as well as in the heavens. There is no man, past, present, or future, that is keeping Shabbat in the Shamayim, in the heavens. This was for the angels at the time. And since we know that we're going to be keeping Shabbat into eternity, you might as well start right now. You might as well start right now. Don't fall into the trap of Christianity and think that every day is the Sabbath day. Or to say that the Messiah is my rest, he's my Sabbath. None of this is in Scripture, family. This is why what we just read in Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, where he says, and pray that your, or is it verse 22? Pray that your flight, your fleeing does not happen in the winter or on the Shabbat. He wouldn't say that if every day was the Sabbath, okay? There is still a day of Sabbath keeping for Yahuwah's people, as it says in Hebrews chapter 4. We are to keep the Shabbat. If you belong to Yahuwah, you know that that is a sign between us and him. Let the Extians do what the Extians are going to do. They're not part of the agreement. They think they are. Just like when we was in Christianity, and there I said the word, we thought that we were in so-called covenant with him. We thought we was in agreement with him. We were not in agreement with him because we weren't keeping his Sabbaths. We were purposely hiding our eyes, as it says in Ezekiel chapter 22, from keeping his Sabbath. This is why people don't know the true calendar to this day. We are just now finding it out for ourselves, and I'm sure there's going to be some things we're going to have to critique and to change some things as he shows us revelation of it. But we're on the right path. We know the Shabbat day. How do we know that we are on the true Shabbat day? Just 7 days ago. Today is the Shabbat. Just 7 days ago, there was a sign. There was an omen from the moon. That's what the moon is for. The moon is for signs. It is not for calendar keeping, as many people do. The moon is for a sign. And what did we have last week on the Shabbat? A red blood moon. It's a sign. And guess where that moon, that red blood moon showed up? Where did that lunar eclipse happen? It happened over the city of Jerusalem, the great city of the great king. It didn't happen here in the United States. It happened over Jerusalem. Because that's his city. we who have the technology today, we're able to see and pinpoint, oh man, this is a sign. The moon rose over the Mount of Olives on the east, and it was all blood red. It's a sign. But when it comes to keeping calendar count, something that is steady and precise as a Rolex watch, and the Rolex watch ain't even as precise as the sun. Yahuwah gave us the great luminary, the sun. That is the timepiece. That's why when you read the book of Enoch, it tells you how it comes out of the fourth window, the fourth portal, for 30 successional days. It rises 30 successional days. And then it does it again in the fifth portal, 30 successional days. And then it does it again in the sixth portal, but now there's one day added. That is the transitional day, the 31st day. That's taking us into the summer. It's called the summer solstice. Successional days. So you see here that these angels were keeping the Sabbath in the heavens and on the earth. And he said unto us, the angels, behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the peoples, and these will keep the Sabbath day, and I will set them apart unto myself as my people, and I will barak them as I have set apart the Sabbath day. We just read in Genesis chapter 2, where he had said and spoke on the seventh day that he separated it from the other days. He set it apart. That means that that day is higher than all the other days. It was at that time that he revealed it to Adam. It wasn't revealed to no other people except to those that Yahuwah wanted, and that was the people of Yasharal. Adam wasn't Yasharal. He came way before Israel was even born, who is Jacob. Abraham wasn't born. Abraham wasn't even an Israeli. Isaac wasn't an Israeli. Jacob wasn't an Israeli until his name was changed to Israel, or Yasharal, his true name. So the people who think that Abraham is a Jew and Isaac is a Jew, they're wrong. Because the word Jew or Yahudi did not even exist. It didn't pre-exist before Yahudah was born, who is the father of the tribe of Judah. That's where we get the word Judah from. Or as they would like to call it in the vernacular of the English, Jew. In the Hebrew, it's Yahudi. Any other questions before we keep going about what we're talking about? Any other questions? Yeah, let your mommy keep telling you that she's not. She just doesn't know. It's okay. Don't get mad at her. Her eyes are just not open. Yaverna, I have not eaten a meal yet. I will here in a little bit. Keen, you said, where is Abraham from? Abraham is a Hebrew. He is from the line of Eber. That's where we get the word Hebrew from. It comes from Abaru. Okay, Aber. So let me show you that here. Okay, so if we go into Genesis, let me show you where it talks about Aber. Let's see if I can find his name. Give me a second. It'll pop out. Ew. I want to say it's in chapter 5. Anak, Lamech. John is in 14. Let me see. Now that might be the actual word Hebrew speaking of Abraham, right? So let's see here. Abram. Can you give me a verse on that one, John? I don't see the words, the word just yet here about the word Hebrew. If you find it, please let me know. Oh, okay. Here it is, verse 13. I found it. And one who had escaped came, informed Abram the Hebrew. You see that? Abram. Before his name was changed to Abraham, Abram was his name, and he's called the Hebrew. Now, he got his name from his ancestor, who is called Eber. Now, that's the word that I'm looking for, and I know it's back here. Let me go back and look at it again. Oh, here it is. Genesis chapter 10. Let me show you this. You see it right there. I have it underlined. Okay. The sons of Shem. Notice that Abram was a Shemite. You and I are considered Shemites. If we have been adopted into Yasharal, or if you are native-born Yasharal, you are a Shemite. Not the curly locks who call themselves Shemites and say that when you speak against them, they call you anti-Shemitic. Okay, that's what they're saying. They're saying you're against our bloodline, but they're not even of this bloodline. They're of the other bloodline, the Japheth bloodline, okay, which is the European bloodline. That's what they should be saying. If they want to say that we're speaking against them, they should call us anti-Japhetic, not anti-Shemitic. It should be anti-Japhetic, because they are from the Japheth line. But nonetheless, here it says that Shelah brought forth Aber, and to Aber were born 2 sons, and the name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Yoktan. Okay, so this is where we get the word Hebrew. Now it's not pronounced Hebrew, it's Aber or Abri. Okay, the people who come from Aber are called Abri, okay, or Abrim, which is plural for Hebrew. All right. Why was the earth divided in his time? The earth was divided because of the Tower of Babel. It was divided because of the Tower of Babel. Remember, they all spoke one language? Yeah, that's when that happened. So if you was to, so it's telling you here, in his days the earth was divided, and then if you read Genesis chapter 11, it shows you how it was divided, because everyone had one speech. Everyone spoke Abri. They all spoke Hebrew. Okay, they all had one speech. And then later, because of what they were doing, Yahuwah divided them. He separated them. He came down and confused their language. And so he scattered them among the face of the earth. And so this is when they were divided. The earth was divided. The people on the earth were scattered. All praises to the Yahuwah. About piercings. Okay, well, that's kind of off topics, but to answer your question, we are not to be piercing ourselves like the heathens do. The only piercing that was allowed was earrings. And that was because you would call yourself being a slave. If you read the book of Leviticus, it says that if the slave wants to return to you and become your indentured servant, you are to thrust a thing through their ear. You're to pierce their ear, and that was to show that you had an agreement with him and he with you, and that person was now your servant. They were your servant. Oh, and you know what? You just give me another one. Nose ring is another one that is also approved. You can also have a nose ring. I forgot about that. But all these other piercings that people are doing, that you see the Gentiles doing, like multiple ear piercings all the way up the earlobe, all the way up through the cartilage. Those that are piercing their belly buttons and some other things that they shouldn't be doing, you know, the private parts, and we're talking about from the nips to the other things. That is not what we're supposed to be doing. That is all pagan. That's all heathenistic. Yep, their tongues, all that is not to be done. Okay, what else do we have here? Any other questions pertaining to the calendar? Let's keep it to the calendar or the Shabbat or something that's related to the calendar, because I know everyone has many questions and we might get into that later, but right now I want to keep on the calendar. Tachi, I would not tattoo the calendar on my body. We shouldn't do that. The scripture speaks against marking your flesh. I have a tattoo also. In fact, I'm getting ready to get it removed next week. Hallelujah. Woo. I've had this tattoo since I was 18. I'm about to get rid of it. How long before the temple is complete? Aki Louise, you're asking how long before the temple is complete? We don't know when the temple is going to be erected, but we are very, very close to them erecting it. Here's a side note, and this is just my opinion. According to what I've studied, they have it already prefabricated, meaning all the walls, they've already casted all the concrete walls for the third temple that they're getting ready to erect. So it won't take them that long to have that thing up and running. I mean, it would be probably less than a year. Yes, Ezekiel 16:12. Let me go there. Let me see here. Ezekiel 16:12. I'm on the wrong chapter. No wonder why I don't see it. Let me back up here. Let's get some context. Again, I passed by you. I'm starting to read from verse 8 of chapter 16 of Ezekiel, and looked upon you and saw that your time was the time of a carnal love. This means for lust. And I spread my skirt over you and covered your nakedness, meaning all of your iniquities, your transgressions. And I swore an oath to you and entered into an agreement with you, and you became mine, meaning that we were married to him. This is the agreement. And I washed you in water, and I washed off your blood and adorning on your head. So the ring on the nose represents marriage. The earring in your ears represents that you are now his servant. And a crown adorned on your head, meaning that you are now king. So yes, nothing wrong with that. So earrings and nose rings are acceptable before Yahuwah, but he's going to give us earrings and he's going to give us a nose ring on that day. Biriella, when's the next Shabbat? It will be this time next week. Yes, Shoshana, even my Akodi, after knowing this, she also, she no longer wears the wedding ring on the left hand, which is according to the customs of the Egyptians. So we wear it on our right hand, and she got her nose pierced, which is showing ownership and also marriage. Now, the nose ring that you put on is not the one that's in the middle between the two nostrils. That is of the heathens. It's the one that you put that goes to either your left nostril or your right nostril. I think it's the right nostril it's supposed to be in. I can't quite remember. Or is it the left nostril? I have to go back and look at it. Warren, what are you speaking of? What am I to read? Oh, where can I find about the wedding rings? Let me show that to you. It is not in scripture. This is according to the customs, because I know some of you probably ever wondered, maybe you haven't, you probably are now. Have you ever wondered where we get this whole thing about wearing rings in the left finger that we call the ring finger? We never asked that question. So I decided to look it up one day, and I'm going to show you what I found. The origin of wedding rings. Okay, let me see if I can find it for you here. Let me find it. I don't know if it's going to be the same one that I did before, but I'm going to try to find it, okay? I don't know if this is the same one, but it'll probably tell you the same. It's going to tell us the same information. The history of the wedding rings. When did they originate? So let me read this to you. In fact, let me make it smaller. Okay. Wedding rings have been a symbol of commitment and love and devotion for thousands of years. The tradition of exchanging rings dates back 3,000 years with archaeological evidence. Notice that archaeological evidence suggesting that the ancient Egyptians exchanged wedding rings as early as 4000 BC. These early rings were made from materials such as reeds, leather, bone, and were placed on the fourth finger on the left hand due to the belief in the vein of the love leading directly to the heart. So when I saw this, I was like, whoop, no more of that. I'm not wearing it on my left hand. That's why I don't have it on my left hand today. I wear it on my right, and I don't have it on me right now. But that's where I would have it on. I wear it on my right hand now instead of my left. Okay? So you can take a screenshot of that. If you want to know where I got that information from, it's right here. shunbridal.com. shunbridal.com. Yeah, exactly. That has nothing to do with our people, right? So that's why we should not do the cultural customs of the heathens. So if you're wearing your wedding ring on your left, put it on the right. When I did my one and only wedding officiating about a month ago, as I was doing the wedding, and of course the two that were eloping together were Akis and Akodis of the faith of belief, and hence that's why I was officiating. And so when it was time to put on the rings, to exchange the rings with one another, the people in the audience, and one of them was a pastor, a preacher, and he was like, they're putting it on the wrong hand. It was so funny. Robin Alexander, left or right hand, why does it matter to you? Because again, as I was just reading, and I don't know if you noticed it, Robin, but it's archaeological evidence suggesting that the ancient Egyptians exchanged weddings, okay, and it was their custom to put it on the fourth finger on the left hand. That's where we get that from. If it doesn't matter, then why does everybody put it on the left hand? Because they got it from this tradition. And so to break tradition and to still show that you are married, we do it on the right hand because it breaks from the traditions of the Egyptians. That's why, Robin. That's why it matters. Well, it is scripture. If you go back and you look at about the prodigal son, Aki Quinton, it says that And this again is a parable, of course, but it says there that when the prodigal son came back, he was given a turban, he was given a robe, and he was given an insignet on his ring. He was given a ring to put on his finger. Okay. But again, these are things that for those of us who are married, we do see that when Yahuwah, on that day, like I read earlier, he is going to give us, as I forget which Aki wanted me to read this passage, but how it says here, and I will put a ring on your nose and earrings in your ears and a crown adorned on your head. Okay. And it even goes even further, and it talks about how thus you are adorned in gold and silver, you were dressed with fine linen and silk and embroidered cloth, you ate fine flour and honey and oil, and you were exceedingly beautiful and became fit for royalty. Let's see, what else do we have here? Somebody says that earrings is forbidden. No, earrings are not forbidden. All praise. They are not forbidden. Ricky, don't curse yourself with taking money from those that you had to work for. As long as you're not in cahoots with them, you're fine. What's a sarif, Aki Jimmy? A sarif? Why does that word look familiar, Aki Nick? Where did you get the word asarif? I've heard that before. Seraph. Okay, seraph is a type of angel. Seraph is singular, seraphim is plural. They are the, if I remember correctly, the seraphim are the 6-winged angels. Yes, exactly, Queen. Seraphim. Yes, David, it depends on your translation, yes. It would probably call it an earring instead of a nose ring. So any other questions on, are we on the 28th day of the 6th month? Double check my beads. Yes, that's the day we should be on. Let me open up my Enoch calendar. Again, anytime you need to double check what you are doing on your calendar beads, just go to your calendar PDF like this and go to Kadash 6, as we are in Kadash 6 right now, or the 6th month. Kadash 6, and then find where we're at. Here it is right here, and today is the 14th. September 14th is the 28th day. Okay. All right. The one and only Wakanda. What website is that? What website are you talking about, Wakanda? this is our calendar here. If you would like a copy of this, please go to our link tree and you can download it. This is the calendar that we use, the true calendar, Enoch Zayduk calendar 2025 to 26. And we only put 2025 and 26 because that way those of us who understand pagan days and years, we know which one it is. As far as the fast, we are going to do it the day after the first day of the 7th month. So here on the first day of the seventh month, let me pull this up here so you can see it. That is on 18th of September, but the fast begins the very next day, and it's a voluntary fast. Okay, so this voluntary fast, let me blow this up here. This voluntary fast we're gonna do from, again, this is the first day of the month. Okay, the first day of the 7th month, also known as the Feast of Trumpets. That'll be coming up here on the 18th. The next day, we're doing a voluntary fast where we're going to be fasting from food. We're only drinking water on the 2nd, on the 3rd, and we break fast on Shabbat. We don't fast on Shabbat. And then we go back to it again on the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th. When we get to the 9th, in that evening, since we've been keeping water fast all this time, once we get here, no water whatsoever for the next 24 hours, no food for the next 24 hours from evening to evening of the 10th. Once the sun goes down on the 10th, we break our fast and we eat. Yes, this one here, this box right here is mandatory. Everyone is supposed to do this. This is commanded by Yahuwah in Leviticus chapter 23. It is 24-hour period, yes. Yes, for those of you, again, it's voluntary. The reason why I think it's Yahuwah has put it on my heart for me and for those who want to do this voluntary fast after the Feast of Trumpets, we're getting ready to enter into some dark times, Mishpachah, and it's gonna be beneficial for you to start fasting and seeking his face on these days. Something is getting ready to happen. I don't know what it is, but every time Yahuwah puts this on my heart, something big happens. Something big happens. Yes, all praises. It's okay for boys and girls, yes. Aki Peter, great to see you. Shabbat Shalom. The sundial you showed has the 4 seasons. The sundial showing 4 seasons? I don't know what you mean by that, Aki. Are you talking about the sundial that I showed you, the armillary? The one that looks like it's made out of brass, the one that I shared earlier? Is that the one you're talking about? That does not show the seasons. It does show you, I guess in a way it does. It shows you the equinoxes, and it does show you the solstices. So I guess in that sense, yes, it does show the beginning of the 4 seasons, yes. What are the pagan days for the fast, please? So, Cree, again, the fast, are you talking about the voluntary fast or the fast that is mandatory? Which one are you asking about, Cree? Yes, you're not telling me which one. Is it the mandatory or the voluntary? Okay, the voluntary starts right here, the 19th. The 19th. The only day we're going to break would be from this one here because of the Shabbat. And then after that, we're going to go back at it again on the 5th of that month, which would be on this pagan date, 22nd. And we're going to do this all the way until the 27th at evening. Okay? Yes, Mocha Coca. Can we get one of you all here for Mocha? Akodi Nazareth, if you have a moment, can you are you able to pin the link tree for us, please? Where people can find this calendar that our Akodi Jackie C had put together for us. Torah cooking, everything is based on the sun. When the sun goes down, that is the moment. Okay, here I'm gonna go ahead and there we go. Thank you, Yah son. And that's right, Louise. No food, only water until we get to the evening of the 9th. For a 24-hour period from evening to evening, ending on the evening of the 10th. No food and no water. You're very welcome, Miss Cookie. So I got about another 30 minutes here, and we're gonna call it a day. I'm gonna eat. I haven't ate at all today. Luis, why the sad face? Is that what you do, Ricky? You fast every Friday night to Saturday night? Oh, okay, I got you. No, that's not true, Ricky, and you won't find that anywhere in Scripture. In fact, I would ask you to ask the person who told you that it is told to you that it's law, that it's Torah, that you are to fast from Friday evening to Saturday evening every week. You won't find that anywhere in Scripture. The only mandatory fast, I just showed it to you, is the Day of Atonement. And that is Leviticus chapter 23. That's right, Chanel. No fasting on Shabbat, period. Verbatim of Jubilees chapter 50. April, many of us are on meds. Again, I'm no doctor, nor take any advice from me. That's between you and Yahuwah with the medications that you're taking. CQ, what other afflictions for Day of Atonement? The only affliction that you are supposed to do is not eat and drink on that day. And so, with that being said, you are to go before Yahuwah and confess your transgressions before him of that previous year. Shoshana, I'm trying to make sense of what you said here. I used to do it on the wrong, I used to do it on the wrong day, Yom Kippur. Yes, you and I both, when I used to follow the moon calendar. You mean on the 9th? Keen DJ, I'm not following what you're asking me. You mean on the 9th? I must have missed something that you had asked. Akudi Deborah, you say Yahusha fasted 40 days and 40 nights, no food and water, including Sabbath days. No, you're reading into that, Akut Deborah. And the reason why I say that is because, again, it doesn't say that he was fasting, including Shabbats, but he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. It doesn't say that they were successional. The reason why we know this is because the same thing with those like Daniel. Daniel fasted 21 or three completed weeks. The 3 completed weeks lets us know that those days that he fasted was not including Shabbat. And that's proven by reading Daniel chapter 10, starting at verse 1. So again, the Messiah is not going to tell us to do something and then he turn around and breaks his own law. He would not do that. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure, Akudi Deborah. If you guys ask me a question, please put a question mark at the end, because if not, I think of it as a statement, because that's the way my brain works. So please put a question mark at the end of a question. If it's not a question, then to me it's going to be a comment. It is something that you're stating. So I apologize for that, Akodi. I didn't know. Irie, if you have medical, can you fast on September 26th to 27, even if it's mandatory? I personally, if I was you, even if you're on medication, the 26th to the 27th, don't put anything in your mouth. I think you're going to survive by not taking a medication for one day. I don't think you're going to die. Ricky, dairy with meat isn't supposed to be cooked together. Is that a question or is that a comment? Or a statement, I should say. Yes, Janet or Yanet. This is why before we were doing like little incremental steps for those of us who've never fasted before. And so, yes, I would, just like anything, you're supposed to practice it, right? So you just don't go hardcore and just start doing 40-day fasts. This is something that you build up to. Lanita, what was your question? I might have missed it. In fact, I must have missed it because I didn't see it. All praise to Yahuwah. You said Sabbath and fast will do at the same time. I don't understand the question. Can you clarify that, all praise? Lynette, you said if you live in the city, where do we go? What do you mean, where do we go? For what reason? Go where? And for what reason are you leaving to go? When it's time to leave home, she means. Oh, when we have to flee, get out the city. Whatever direction that is, get out of the cities. During the abomination, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, yes. When it's time to flee, yes. Just get out of the cities. You got to get away from people. People are going to be, those who don't know what you know are going to be your enemies. King DJ, once again, the fast is going to be from sunrise on the 19th all the way to the evening of the 27th of September. So the 19th of September to the 27th of September in the evening. So when you wake up on the 19th, when the sun rises, that's when the fast starts. Again, this is voluntary. All the way to September 27th. September 27th, from evening to evening, starting on September 26th in the evening to the evening of September 27th, that is mandated. That is a mandatory fast that everyone is supposed to do. In fact, just so you all understand, let's go to Leviticus 23. Let's go there. let me show you how serious Yahuwah is about this fast. Okay. And then I'm going to show you this on the calendar so you know that we have this on the calendar as well. Make sure you keep this, okay? Because again, Yahuwah is very serious about this. All right. Let's go here. Thank you, Aki Quinton. I see that you sent me something about wedding rings not being scriptural. I will check that out. Let me see here. Okay. Verse 26. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, on the 10th day of the 7th new month is Yom HaKippurim. Yom HaKippurim is the day atonement. Okay. The day, and we would have to insert of atonement. Or atonements. This is plural. It's not Yom HaKippur. It's Yom HaKippurim. Purim is plural. Okay, so Yom HaKippurim is the Day of Atonements. It shall be a set apart gathering for you. So we will be coming on. I will be coming on live that day because we are to have a set apart gathering. And you shall afflict your beings. That right there, afflict, is fast. And we know that from looking at other passages, even the apocryphals, that this is a day of fasting. And you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. How do you bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah? It is the voice of your lips, the words that are coming off of your lips. This is how we give offering to Yahuwah, as we are told in Hebrews chapter, I believe it's 13, and also in Psalms, and I can't remember the actual chapter in Psalms. And you do no work on that same day, for it is Yom Kippurim, Day of Atonement, to make atonement for you before Yahuwah, your Alua Elohim, your mighty one. Now notice what it says here that I have underlined in red. For any being, that is any person who is not afflicted, meaning that you are not fasting on that same day, he or she shall be cut off from their people, meaning you will not have everlasting life. And any being who does any work on that same day, which means that you are to rest, that being I shall destroy from the midst of his people. Once again, meaning that you shall not have eternal life. You do no work. It is a law forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings, in all the places that you sleep, where you live. You are not to do this. Okay? You have to take care of this law. Notice it says here in verse 32, this is where people get all mixed up about times and dates. It is a Shabbat of rest to you, and you shall afflict your beings on the 9th day of the new month at evening. From evening to evening you observe your Shabbat, not his Shabbat, but your rest. Okay? Now remember, it starts on the 10th day, it says, but it really starts the day before. Why the day before? Because it starts in the evening on the 9th day, as it says here in verse 32. On the 9th day in the evening, okay? From evening to evening, you observe your Sabbath. So if you start on the 9th day in the evening and you go from evening to the next evening, that means it brings you to the 10th day in the evening. This is Yom HaKippurim. But why does it only specify the 10th day? Because that day you're not supposed to work. The 9th day you can't work. It's already evening. It's nighttime. So let me show you this on the calendar. So here we are. 9th in the evening, just like it says here in verse 32. Okay. On the 9th day of the new month at evening. Right here, 9th day of the 7th month at evening, from evening to evening. So as I always like to share when I talk about these blocks here, notice how we have this block. This is a 24-hour period. This is a 24-hour period. This is a 24-hour period. But you have one that is straddling two dates, and this is a 24-hour period from evening to evening. Okay, so on the 9th at evening to the 10th at evening, you're going from evening into the night, midnight into the daytime. This is the day portion of the 10th day. This is the day you're not supposed to work. This is why it says here, and any being who does any work on that same day, that being I shall destroy from the midst of his people. Work is always done in the daytime, not in the evening and not at night. Oh, let me turn it back on here. Not at night. I know we live in a modern society where people have 3 different shifts, but that is not the way Yahuwah has designed us to work. We are to work only in the day portion, okay? This is the day we do not work. Anyone who works on this day, on the 10th day, you shall be cut off from your people. So, again, evening to evening, you are to keep your Shabbat. You are to keep your rest. This isn't the weekly Shabbat. The weekly Shabbat is right here. This is the weekly Shabbat. That's his Shabbat. This right here, this is our rest. This is our Shabbat, where we confess our atonement, or confess our transgressions on the Day of Atonement. I hope that makes sense. April, so you don't work on the 26th and the 27th. Well, no, you just don't work on the 27th. Okay? This is the day. Now, you can work here. You can work in the day portion here. And then when the evening comes, you're not supposed to be working. You should be done with your work at evening anyway. You come home. You don't eat. You start your fast. You go to sleep at night. You wake up in the morning. You start the 10th day. No work here. No work. When the sun goes down, you break your fast, you can eat again. You're very welcome, April. Yes, you can eat Friday evening on that day, yes. Well, Friday evening, let me see. No, that would be Saturday evening, because this is Sunday, right? Pagan Day Sunday. This is Saturday. This is Friday. You can't eat Friday evening. The fast starts Friday evening, September 26th. Janine, call out. Say you're sick. Something. Call out. When you're really sick and you have the flu, you're not going to go into work, right? You call out. You have to call out. Yes, Yahuwah first. Do not put this world and its matters before Yahuwah's commandments. Call out. Do what you got to do. Get out of it. Get out of it. Do not allow Pharaoh to tell you what you're supposed to do. Okay? Any other questions? Any other comments? I have 15 minutes left here with you all. Alexandrian, how often is Shabbat? Shabbat is every 7 days. Can we go over the dates of next Shabbat for the Day of Atonement? Akudi Deborah, let me see. Let me read that again. Can we go over the dates next Shabbat for the Day of Atonement? That's what I was just doing right now. The Day of Atonement is September 26th in the evening to September 27th in the evening. That is the Day of Atonement. Mocha, what do you mean? What does 9 and 10 mean? You're talking about these 2 days, 9 and 10? Those are the actual days of Yahuwah's calendar. You see, and I understand why some of you are asking this question, because again, some of you don't know the true calendar. This is the true calendar of Yahuwah. Okay? This is his true calendar. Hold on, let me turn on my other light here, because I'm getting some refractions from the other light that I'm using here. Give me a second here, let me turn off this one. Okay. So this calendar, once again, is available on our link tree. It's available on our link tree. I'm trying not to have those of you who are trying to get some of this information that we have from me directly and get it from our Linktree site, because then you can get it. We have other things that are on there as well. And the only reason, because if you wait for me to send it to you, you might not get it for a month. You may not get it for 2 months. You may not never get it, because I have so many emails and text messages that I just can't possibly get to all of them. I wish I could, but I'm just one person and I have a life and I do have things that I have to attend to, and I just can't get to all of them. So please go to what you see that is pinned at the top of the comments, the Linktree/Nazareth, and look for the calendar. We have it in English and in Spanish. What does it read on 22nd, please? Are you talking about here on the 22nd? If this is what you're talking about, the last great day of the feast of, it's a high Shabbat, a high set apart day. That's the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. Yes, Keen DJ. You are to confess your sins before Yahuwah that whole day. That whole day is about Him. It's not a day of laughter. It's not a day of joy. It's a day of sadness and mourning. And you need to come before Yahuwah on your knees, if you're able to physically do so. Prostrate yourself and confess all your transgressions that you can think of. The website is the link tree that Yasun has just put there, that is pinned at the top. Let's see, Cody Miriam, you screenshotted the screen. Oh, that's yours. I'm thinking I'm looking at my my laptop. That's your laptop. Hallelujah. I see that you printed out the calendar. That's beautiful. Kelsey Daniels, can I go to work on the 28th? No, the 28th. Oh, wait a minute. Can I go to work on the 22nd? No, you cannot go to work on the 22nd if you're talking about this day here. This is a high Shabbat. No work is to be done on this day. The first day of the Feast of Sukkot and the last day of the Feast of Sukkot, there is to be no work done. I can show you that here, since we're here on it. Let me show you. Again, all this stuff, Mishpachah, you need to read for yourself. Leviticus chapter 23. It's one thing to hear from me, but you need to do your own study and look into this, please. You have to, okay? I don't mind answering questions, but a lot of this stuff is told to us right here in the book. So right here again, this is the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Sukkot, what we just looked at. Okay, that takes us to the 22nd day. So here it says, on the 15th day of the 7th new month is the festival of Sukkot. We also know this as the Feast of Tabernacles, for 7 days to Yahuwah. On the first day is a set apart gathering. You do no servile work. So you notice that, no work on that day. It says, for 7 days you bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah, and on the 8th day there is a set apart gathering for you, and you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. It is a closing of the festival. You do no servile work. That is the 22nd day, on the 8th day. So if you was to count this, okay, so remember he says that you are to dwell in tents for 7 days, okay? Dwell in this day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. You finish here. That night you're done. Okay? You don't, when you wake up the next day, it's the last day. You don't sleep this day in the tent. But this day is a day you don't work. It's a set apart gathering. That's the 8th day. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 8th day, the last day. That's what we just read here. For 7 days you bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. On the 8th day there shall be a set apart gathering for you, and you shall bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah. It is the closing of the festival. You do no servile work. So again, the 15th day, no work. You can work, no work. That's the weekly Shabbat. Work, no work. Okay? No work. Cody Della Brown, I just got your itinerary. We are looking forward to seeing you. We are looking forward to seeing you. Hallelujah. Look at that. All right. I can't wait for that day. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to have a great time. By the way, my comments are statements. Okay, Voice of the Battlefield. Like I say, if I don't see a question mark at the end, I'm gonna consider it being a statement or a comment, okay, and not as a question. So if you don't put a question there and I say it differently towards you and my voice sounds different, it's because you might have said that it was a question, but I didn't read it as a question because I didn't see a question mark. Okay. Natural care. What is Akudi? Akudi is my sister in Hebrew. That's what it means. Akudi means my sister. Aki means my brother. How do we get the bead calendar? Lanita, please contact me through TikTok messaging. Make sure the very first word you put is calendar beads. Okay? Let me know that you want the calendar beads, because those are the ones that I'm looking for. When I see calendar or calendar beads, those I try to answer because I know you need something, or you're wanting to get a copy of the calendar PDF, or you're wanting your own set of calendar beads. But again, I don't talk about calendar beads as far as payment and all that stuff today, because we don't buy, sell on Shabbat, and today is the Shabbat according to Yahuwah's calendar. But you can definitely contact me tomorrow about it. If you contact me today, I probably won't see it until tomorrow. Okay? Teal, you are traveling to Phoenix on the 18th. If you don't mind me asking, Teal, where are you traveling from as you're traveling to Phoenix? We have a whole lot of Akis and Akodis that live in Phoenix, by the way. They're here right now. I mean, I think we got at least 10, 20, almost, I would say probably close to 20 for sure in the Phoenix area. What does bring an offering made by fire to Yahuwah means? Luis, that has to do with, and Betty, that has to do with giving fruits of your lips, the praise of your lips, worship from your lips. Let me take you to Hebrews chapter 13. I think it's chapter 13. Let me look and see, or is it 15? Hebrews. Ibrahim. It is 13. There is no chapter 15. Okay, let me read this to you. There's only 2 days that you are not to work mandatorily, Torah, on the Feast of Tabernacles. The 15th and the 22nd of Yahuwah's calendar. That would be the 2nd and the 9th on the pagan calendar. You are not to work. Okay, so here it says, through him, that is the Messiah, then, let us continually offer up a slaughter offering of praise to Alua Elohim, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to him in his name, or to his name, giving thanks to his name. Okay? That's what we're supposed to do. And this is backed up. Again, the New Testament has to be validated by the Old Testament. So we're going to go to Psalms 119, verse 108. And it says something similar. Psalms 119, 108, the longest chapter of the book, verse 108. And it reads, Please accept the voluntary offerings of my mouth, O Yahuwah, and teach me your right rulings. So anytime you see where it talks about we are to bring an offering made by fire, you do so with your lips. You do so with the praises from your lips unto Yahuwah. All right, well, we're coming down to the end of our Yom. Okay. Oh, Hebrew, what? That is Hebrews chapter 13, verse... I think it was verse 15. Let me go back there. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15. Yes. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15, and Psalms 119, verse 108. Akut Deborah, that was back in the day when we still had sacrificial laws. We do not do sacrificial laws anymore because Yahusha came and took that out of the way. Hallelujah. All right, well, let us go ahead and palal. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I enjoy every one of these Shabbat times that we have together. It means the world to me. It really does. I'm sorry, prayer warrior, that I finally answered you. You know, with all these people in here and I'm seeing things scrolling, by the time I see some of your guys' questions or statements, I apologize. I'm just one person with two eyeballs and I only can see one thing at a time with these two eyeballs. So I ask that you forgive me for not seeing your question earlier. Okay, let us palal. Heavenly Abba, we come before you thanking you, O Yah. We thank you, Abba, for us being able to come together in the mighty name of Yahusha as family, not just as friends, but as the Mishpachah, the eternal family, O Abba, the ones that you have called by your marvelous name. Abba, we thank you, Tuda Abba Yahuwah, for all that you do and continue to do in each one of our lives. Abba, we palal for our friends and our family, those who don't know you, those that we wish that knew you. Abba, we ask that you will give us an open door that we may be able to speak to them about your truths and that they will be attentive to your words and not our words, O Abba. When they hear us speaking, may they hear you and not us. Abba, we ask that you help us to be more obedient to you, that we do not do the things of this world, but we only do those things that please you. Abba, help us to separate ourselves from this world as we see that these things are fast approaching on this earth, O Abba. Condition us, help us, prepare us, your people, O Abba, for what is coming. Abba, we know none of us are worthy of your compassion and your mercy and your long suffering, and yet we ask, O Abba, that you do not deal with us according to our ways, according to our thoughts, most of all, because many of us, O Abba, our thoughts, they go lingering on and think of things that is not pleasing before you. Help us to bring every thought into subjection, every thought into captivity, everything that we do in our life, O Abba, for none of us are perfect, not one of us is perfect. We all have things that we need help of, O Abba. We need you to help us to remove these things. We need you, for you are our Savior, to save us from ourselves, from our wickedness, our wicked deeds, our wicked ways, O Abba, our wicked thoughts, O Yahuwah. We palal for our leaders, those who hate us, as we palal for our enemies, for you told us to love our enemies, to care for our enemies, O Abba. Help us to do those things that you've told us to do and not just speak it, but to do it, O Abba Yahuwah. And so we give you praise on your Yom as we continue to meditate on your words, even when we get off of this platform on TikTok, oh Yah. Help us to stay connected to you. May all of our thoughts be about you. May our words, our speech be about you. May we not do any of our own desires. May we not turn around right after turning this off and going and doing those things of the world, oh Abba Yahuwah. Help us to truly be set apart. This is our prayer and our petition on this Yom, on this Shabbat, in the name of your Bane, your Son, Yahusha, the name that is above all names, no other name that we can call upon under the Shamaim that we may call upon to be saved. It's in his beautiful and mighty name, Yahusha, that we ask all these things and bring these petitions before you. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, and Hallelujah, Rumamu Yahuwah. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. Trying some new sounds. Trying some new sounds before Yahuwah and before my mishpachah. I want to thank all of you again for being here. Let us go ahead and read the Aaronic Barakah, and let's call it a Yom. Ahaba to all of you. Love to each and every one of my mishpachah, my family. We hope for those of you first-time visitors, those who are hearing us for the first time, we hope that you come back. We come on here on TikTok and on YouTube. I usually come on the weekends. 1 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock Mountain, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern on TikTok. 1 o'clock on YouTube on the next day, which is today, next week, on this pagan day of SUN Day. 1 o'clock Pacific, 2 o'clock Mountain, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. After being on there for about 2 to 3 hours, we come here onto TikTok. That would be between 4 and 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which would be 6 to 7 o'clock or 7 to 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right? Okay. So let me send you off with a barakah before Yahuwah, as I have been commissioned to do, as we've all been commissioned to do. And the word reads, And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is how you barak the children of Yasharal. Say to them, Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom, that is peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Yasharal, and I myself, that is Yahuwah, shall barak them. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. Hallelujah, Yahuwah. Yes. Hallelujah. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. So shall you put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Yes. May Yahweh bless you and keep you.
gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. Yahweh. So shall you put my name upon the children of Yashrael, and I will rock them.
So once again, I want to thank all of you for your time. I really appreciate you all. You helped me to stay on my P's and Q's, to be accountable to each and every one of you, because once I share this kind of truth with people, I have to be accountable to those that are around me. Not only to our Abba Yahuwah and the Shamayim, but to the Mishpachah, to my Akis and Akodis. Because again, it is He who is the one who gives us this truth. It's not my words, it's His words. I'm sharing with you His words, not my words. As I always like to say, I'm not your pastor, I'm not your preacher, I'm not your teacher. I am just your brother, your Ak. That's it. He's our teacher. He's our leader. He's our head. He's our Abba Yahuwah. He's the one that teaches us. He's the one that preaches to us. He's the one that leads us into all truth. So again, I want to thank all of you. So with that being said, let me just make sure that I am not forgetting anything that I need to share. So here we are on the 28th. I will be coming on before the Shabbat next week, on the 4th day of the week, coming up live from Palm Springs. That would be, and some of the Kodis and Akis will be there together with us in Palm Springs with Aki Swank Swank, also known as Aki Matthew, and his lovely Asha Veronica, Akodi Veronica. And we are going to celebrate the Feast of Trumpets there in Palm Springs, California, together. So I will be coming on that day. So do be looking out for us. This is going to be a set apart convocation that we're going to have before Yahuwah. So no matter where you live, may we come together according to the scriptures to make a joyful noise on that day unto Yahuwah. Excuse me. All right. Creed, that will be, let me see here. The pagan day will be the 18th, which will be, that would be on a Thursday. Okay. Pagan day Thursday. All right. This Thursday. No, not Tuesday. Not Tuesday. Not a Tuesday. Thursday. I don't know what time yet. It will be during the daytime here on the West Coast. I'm going to guess, say, probably right around 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Hold on one second, you guys. This from my Asha. But yes, so it will be on Pagan Day Thursday. Okay, it should be right around 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That would make it 4 o'clock Eastern. Again, don't quote me on that, but it should be right around there. All right, we will send out a mass text to those who are part of the groups that we have on TT to help the algorithms kick in, and those of you who may not get notifications will get notifications. But I would say check around 1 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock Mountain, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern this Thursday. And we will be coming live and direct from Palm Springs. Again, for the Feast of Trumpets. Alrighty. I want to thank all of you again. I want to thank all of you for all that you guys do. My moderators, those who gave gifts, those who pressed and gave hearts and crowns. All of it, every one of you. Yahuwah knows who you are. Thank you so much. Tuda Abba Yahuwah for all of you and how you've helped me through and will continue to help me through. And let us help each other. Let us not forget. Let us not forget to.
Power on.
What in the world? Sorry about that, you guys. I know I probably hurt all your guys' ears. That was my microphone. Yeah, you guys are like, what? You hear that? Like, what? Yeah, I would say that. That's my soundboard. But anyhow, thank you all for your time. Sorry for blowing out your ears there. Yes, my echo. So I don't have to fake the echo. I can actually echo. You see that? Okay. All right, Mishpachah. I want to thank all of you again. Yahuwah barak you and keep you, and may he continue to allow the countenance of his light to shine upon each and every last one of you in your Mishpachah. I am Ak Jimmy, aka Ambassadors of Yah. Until next time, Yahuwah willing, at the Feast of Trumpets, I will be back on here unless something happens between now and then that is tragic or something that is prophetic, or he gives me something. Other than that, I will see you, Yahuwah willing, this pagan Thursday. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah.